Hi, welcome back to Success Today. I'm your host, Greg Rollett, here with a very incredible guest. She is a speaker, a psychologist, an author, and a team executive coach who's been helping clients all over the world for the past 17 years. Please welcome Aimée Sanchez. Welcome to Success Today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you because you have such a diverse background. You've been helping people for so long, and right now, people need help. They need a lot of help. Businesses need help to grow. But before we get into that, tell everybody kind of where you came from. How did you get to this point today?
Well, thank you. Yes, well, I started out originally working in psychology about 17 years ago. Actually, my specialization is in neuropsychology, studying brain and behavior relationships. And what I found that there was a lot of similarities between the types of practices that we use in organizational psychology for working with individuals getting over issues related to mindset. So my business is kind of a mix in my practice with neuroscience and using organizational principles to help individuals work through their mindset blocks.
Well, let's talk about that, because there's a lot of people talk about mindset, but how does that actually work within a company or within an organization? Like, how do you help them make that transformation?
Okay, well, sometimes what it results in is problems with performance. Maybe there's some area that you might feel like you're being held back and you want to advance in. Those are the types of things that we focus on when you work with me in my practice. We try to identify what are those things that might be limiting you, and then help empower you with strategies or tools to help you overcome those areas of limits.
Well, so talk about limits, right? How, if someone has like those limiting beliefs or things that are holding them back, how is that, stopping maybe the progress, both personally, but then as a business, if your team isn't operating, at full speed, that's not very good for the team either, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it might not be an individual process so much as it might be a systemic or organizational process. So I work a lot with organizations and companies that might be going through change or transformation. One of the things we look at is we look at the beliefs and attitudes around change, and what we need to do is identify a way to shift those ideas around change and progress the team towards being able to accomplish those goals.
So what are some of those negative beliefs? Someone's watching right now and either they're a leader managing a team or them themselves. Like, what are some of the beliefs that are very common that you see, when you're out there working?
Well, some of the things might be that change could be considered to be a bad thing. That as a result of change, there might be some kind of limit to the team itself. It might result in more work or a change in mission or a change in even the value of what we're doing. And so we try to reframe that in a positive way.
Yeah, just getting out of that comfort zone,
right? Yeah, getting out of that comfort zone, continuing to challenge yourself and going beyond those usual limits that this is the way that we've always done it.
So what happens when they overcome those limiting beliefs? What happens when they overcome? So even with change, if someone now overcomes and say, all right, I do want to change, what happens on an individual level, and what can maybe a case study or a story from a company where you've really helped them to embrace things like that?
Well, on an organizational level, I've seen a lot of transformation come in regards to teams where they've maybe had problems with overall performance or meeting a certain standard. And once we've been able to embrace what some of those limits were and being able to identify specific goals and how to achieve that, we've seen that the actual outcome has been that performance has been exceeded. And also there's been additional value added and meaningfulness to the work, and so employees are engaged at a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think today more than ever, companies want engaged employees. They want people to feel good when they go into the office, and that ultimately helps them to perform better too, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I know you've taken a lot of this experience, the things you've been doing, all the research, and you've just compiled it into a new book, which you're really excited about. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's called Disrupt the Status Quo, Living and Leading from Your Success Zone. And really what that's about is teaching leaders how to expand and work beyond their own limiting beliefs in the organizational and professional setting, and really just lead from their area of strength.
Yeah, so who's this book for? If you had a magic wand and you could say, I want to get this book into as many people's hands as possible, who do you want reading the book?
Yeah, I would like it to go to individuals that are executives, entrepreneurs, business owners, people that are in a position of influence, and are leading teams, because I think that that will have the greatest impact on them being able to transition their own thoughts about how they're leading.
I love that. And they can get that book from you right now?
Yeah, they can get it from me on my website at drAvsanchez.com. You can also purchase it through Amazon.
Awesome. I love it. Now, in addition to the book, one of the things that you are doing a lot of right now is speaking and going and helping these organizations, helping entrepreneurs, helping leaders to understand some of these principles. So talk a little bit about the speaking and why you enjoy it so much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I really enjoy speaking because it gives me a chance to have an additional forum to connect with people and also speak on topics that I'm passionate about. In regards to leadership, there's so many different things that we can talk about, but some of the hot topics right now have to do with emotional intelligence, having leaders really understand what their trigger points are and how that maybe impacts upon individuals in the organizational setting, people that they have influence over. Some of the other areas have to do with value assessment and cultural transformation, and then innovation is another big area that we've been talking about.
Yeah, just such powerful topics, very timely in today's environment. I'd love it if you could think back, and I know you've been doing this for a long time and you have a lot of success stories, but is there any success story that kind of stands out in your mind as someone where they really understood the teachings and trainings you wanted to do and really came out on the other side as better people, better teams, better company?
Well, on an individual level, there's a case that I was thinking about just when you asked me that, about an individual who had been working in our organization for some time and was having difficulty in regards to their performance. They just weren't performing at the level that they once had. Were feeling somewhat fatigued in regards to their work, feeling like they were dreading going into work, and came to me as a result of feeling like there was this cognitive dissonance going on.
Yeah.
Just, I know I'm here, this is what I think I like doing, but I really don't feel it.
Yeah.
And so we kind of worked through a lot of the ideas that they had around that, and what it came back to is that the passion for what they were doing had been lost, and some of that had to do with a shift in their ideas about who they were and what their purpose was. So in working with that individual, it actually resulted in them being able to identify what their strengths were, what direction they wanted to go professionally, and they were actually able to speak with their employer about doing some job recrafting where they were able to shift their work responsibilities in their area of strength. So that's an example of a success story with someone that I worked with that worked out great.
That's real powerful, because when that passion is gone, when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, you're not excited to go to the office. It doesn't just hurt you on a personal level, you're hurting the team, there's such a butterfly effect that happens because of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm going to switch gears real quick and just talk about the one piece of advice, or the best piece of advice that you could give to someone watching right now to really help them to succeed, to embrace that change in today's economy.
Well, I think that the important thing, again, is to embrace strategy as a key component of change and see that change is essential to growth. And that really, as a leader, you kind of have this responsibility, not kind of, you do have this responsibility in which you influence others, and they model their behaviors after what they see from you. So being able to feel like you can take that leap and have that courage to challenge the status quo will give you the opportunity to really maximize your own potential, but also to embrace innovation and continue to lead and win in a thriving economy.
I love that. These are the values that the world really needs right now. I'm glad you're out there doing this and taking charge and helping people. And if someone's watching right now and they say, I want one of those books, or I want you to come in and speak to my organization or help our organization, or even just help me on a personal level, where can they learn more? How can they get started in this journey with you?
Yeah, please visit my website, drAvsanchez.com, and that will be able to tell you how to work with me and tell you all about my organization and what we do.
I love that. We'll make sure we have that on the screen as well so visitors can go there. Aimée, thank you so much
Thanks
for coming and hanging
me.
out with us this morning. And we'll be back in just a minute with more from Success Today.